Okay, and welcome everybody to another edition of 20 Question Tuesdays. And we're definitely going to have a fun one today. And we've got a really good special guest for you. Welcome everybody who's watching on Austin Music TV in Austin on channel 16 or on channel 99 on ATTUverse. Welcome to everybody who's watching on Twitch, which we just opened up a channel on, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/Periscope. You guys know what I'm talking about. You may hear my dogs barking from outside, but it's a beautiful day here on Vancouver Island, where Donnie and I are waiting out the pandemic with our Canadian family. Those of you who don't know, I started 20 Questions Tuesdays a while back, and the idea basically was everybody was locked up and didn't have much to do. And I wanted to just get online and kind of start a workshop and get everybody talking about music and get everybody talking about guitar. And from the very beginning, I started having great guitar players and songwriters and producers. But then I also got like people who just were super interested in music that didn't do it for a living. And it's been a real joy for me. And when Austin Music TV asked me to put it on channel, I had to say yes. It's really great. And it just means the world to me. And then soon after I started streaming for them, I found out that this incredible app, I can grab guests. And so I've had a guest every week ever since. And the month of September is going to be filled with some big stars, everybody. So some big stars and friends and family and that sort of thing. Let's see. September 1st is going to be Pat Byrne, who just recorded a record in Nashville with Billy Harvey at the Sound Emporium during the pandemic. The 8th is going to be Nakia. The 15th will be none other than Ruthie Foster. The 22nd will be... 22nd will be Carolyn Wonderland. And on the 29th, we're going to have my oldest and dearest Texas buddy, Mr. Ray Wiley Hubbard. So September's going to be a great month. But for right now, I can't wait to introduce this young man that I like to call a friend and that I've been inspired by musically and otherwise. Everybody please say and give a warm welcome and throw the emoji hand claps up for Mr. Jack Barksdale, everybody. Here comes Jack.
Hey,
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Uh-oh. I gotta make sure I've got my headphones on. Oh, I don't. That's the thing about this show. I told you it was going to be professional. Oh, I even got an echo because like some of my other shows are volume up. Okay, so I gotta turn it down over there. And that should do it. All right. Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah. I know that later in the video, we are going to... yeah, there is a bit of an echo, isn't there? Oh, I see. Jack, do you have your speakers turned up pretty loud?
Not sure. I'll turn it down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. Might be a
better?
thing where we... It is better. It's still there, but it's really soft now. Yeah, that really helped. But I guess everybody else is hearing it. You don't have headphones, do you?
I could put some on, maybe.
Okay, it might help with the echo. I'm sorry about that. We didn't experience the echo during the sound check. But if you got them and they're around, grab them. Take a second.
My mom just ran to get them.
Okay, cool. Well, that's one thing I want to say, too, is that, you know, you're 13 years old and you're out playing music already. When did you have your first album? When did you put out your first album?
Well, I guess it was... 2018?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I put out an EP of 4 songs. 2 were instrumentals and 2 had lyrics. And those, I had done a bunch of singles before that, but that was the first time I did a whole group of songs.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty fun.
And you had started playing guitar at 9?
Yes.
You got 1 year on me, but I say you've done a little bit better in your short time than I did. So later on in the show, we'll also show your new video for the song that you wrote with Corby Lenker that you recorded with Will Kimbrough.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to play that for everybody. And that's another thing cool about this app is I'm able to get that going and play videos and such. Ted, we just answered your question, which is when did you start playing? So we got that one.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Monty. By the way, most of these questions, the great majority of them, we're going to get from the chat. And I had a couple of people. It's a lot easier if you guys send them to me for future reference. But I always get on about 15 minutes early and get the questions. So let's... Oh, Danielle says she likes your Mickey Mouse shirt.
Oh yeah, I got a
That's a good one.
Mickey Mouse shirt.
Yeah, and I know you're a dog fan, but you don't have dogs because you're allergic. So I'll try and get Oscar or Alice to come visit sometime during the show. You've met them virtually. There's some really, really good questions in here already, and so I'm going to start with this one. Kate Howard asks, if you had a time machine, who would you go back and hear live, and would you rather see them on a porch or in a club? It's a fun question. I don't know what I would say.
I would...
Who would you love to go back in time to hear play music live? Like, I think there's probably people that I would love to hear because of how it would affect me, but I also think there's people I would love to, like, watch their fingers play.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't know, like maybe Elizabeth Cotton or something.
Yes. But
You know?
I feel like I would love to hear one of those old blues guys, like maybe Charlie Patton or something.
Charlie Patton.
Without,
That's a great choice.
Without all that, all the record scratches and the old recording.
Yeah.
Just hear it how it is and see how it sounds.
Just right in your face.
Uh-huh.
So you think it would be a porch thing, or you think it would be a club?
Probably on the porch.
I think that's a really great distinction she made in that question. I love that.
Instead of seeing him put on a show, actually just see him play what he wants to play.
Oh, yeah. Do you feel like that's a thing? I mean, and Peter Blackstock says, great answer, by the way.
Thanks, Peter.
I agree. What you mentioned right there is kind of interesting. You said, I'd rather see him playing what he wants to play rather than what he would do for a show. Do you feel like you're under the impression that, like, that leads me down a bunch of little holes for questions. Do you get bored playing the same songs over and over again of your own? Do you wish that you didn't have to have a set list, or are you under any of those kind of pressures right now?
No, I
Good.
I love playing live, and I love playing any way I can, but
Pretty much play what you want?
I feel like a lot of people, I feel like for a lot of people, there's, like, songs, especially those old blues guys, because they were kind of like showmen.
They get stuck playing certain stuff over and over again, you think?
I don't know. Maybe it was, I don't really feel like they would care. But, I think it would be really cool to just see, instead of trying to put on a show for someone, which I feel like they might do, just playing the song that they feel like playing.
There's
Instead
something
of
interesting.
Taking the one that the talent finders say, that's your best song.
This is a really,
We're
really
gonna record
wise...
that.
Yeah, this is a really wise thing you're talking about right here. This is why people often say that you're wise beyond your years, young man. Because the thing is, people will come and they'll say, "This is your hit," or "You have to have a single," or "This is the one we're going to push," and they feel really, really strongly about. Yeah, I know the echo is Jack's speakers coming through his mic.
I got some headphones if...
Well, let's go ahead and put them in, if you don't mind. Sorry about that. We didn't experience it during the sound check, and I thought everything was going to be grand.
Oh, there we go.
Thanks, buddy. One moment, everybody.
Is this going to mess up my audio?
Check 1, 2.
Check.
No echo. Can you hear
Cool.
me?
I can.
Oh, you're a good man. Thanks for that, and thank your mom, Clara.
Thank you.
Oh, I like this. Christy Harrington says, "We have a porch at Brookshire's here in Canyon Lake. We would love to have him. Is he in Texas by chance?" I'm sure he would love to play your porch, and jackbarksdale.com is where you would find booking.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah. But what I was going to say about you being a little bit wise beyond your years is a lot of times a record company or a manager or somebody like that will come along and they'll say, "This is your song," and it's tough because as an artist you think, "No, I think it should be this, and I think it should be this, and I want to play these songs," or even more. I'll tell you about I was on a tour opening up for a rather large band, and we went to go play a different gig off the big tour, off the stadium tour. We're no longer playing a stadium. So for one night we went off. And the guitar player in the main band said to me, he's a famous cat, but I'll leave the names out to protect the innocent. And he goes, I said, "Man, it's going to be great to stretch out because we've been playing 45-minute sets, the same thing every night." And he goes, "Oh, that'd be nice." And here he is, and he's playing in this stadium band, but he has to play the same songs every night, and he has to play them the same way, and he has to play the same solo. And for him, it was like he made the big time, but it wasn't exactly what he expected. Yeah. No, the name will not be dropped right now, Adrian. I'm very sorry for that. So, not this time. Maybe later I'll tell you who it was, because I want to protect that great band, too, because they're a great band. But they like to put on a show. Yeah. Which is something that's missing. And it does make sense to have set lists for that reason. But I think your time machine question that Kate asked was awesome. That mentions Peter Blackstock actually had a great question, too. Given your age, have you had the chance yet to meet Charlie Sexton? Charlie was a young guitar player, got out at a very young age, and Peter made a good point that he might be a really, really great resource for you to know, because there's somebody who has, instead of just like fizzling out as a young child star, had just this incredible career from producing to the Archangels to playing with Dylan, and him playing at a young age. Have you met him, and have you spoken with him at all?
I have not met him yet, but I have met and played with his brother Will a lot.
Oh, Will is so great too, and such a wealth of knowledge. Will is as well, sort of on. It's funny how brothers who both play can kind of take unique and different paths. My big brother's 5 years older than me and a musician, and he was one of my biggest musical influences. But he pretty much writes what we used to call 20th century music, and now we call it 21st century music because it's pretty off the wall. It sounds like some crazy Zappa stuff or something. That's the easiest way I can explain it. But, yep, and people are saying, yeah, the two of them should meet, and et cetera, and I agree. I think that maybe somebody, maybe I'll ask Scrappy or somebody to get you guys in touch. That would be really great.
Yeah, it would be really cool to meet him.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot about him.
Yeah, he's really, really great. You know what's really interesting about him is almost every song on stage, he changes guitars. And I don't know. I mean, I'm the same way. I'm like, really? But he's one of those guys that has those guitar collections where you're like, but they all sound different. It's not because he wanted a gold Les Paul and then he wanted a wood Les Paul. It's because every single guitar has a unique sound and he really knows how to play them.
Yeah.
So, hey, Jessica, who just came in, Jessica Forsyth, hi there. Hi to you and Guy.
Hey,
she says, I missed it. Who are you talking about? We're talking about Charlie Sexton because he was also started at a very early age and got into the limelight. Exactly. Some more questions. How about a little fun one? Oh, I like this question from my friend Adrian, who I mentioned before, does a lot of poster art and beautiful, beautiful stuff. He's done some artwork for me as well. He has this great question. He's over on Twitch. Other than Americana, could you ever see yourself getting into any other genre? Now, I already know that you dig blues. And I love this story. If you don't mind telling people about how you found out about blues through something that your dad was listening to. I mean, I know you've told it a couple of times, but you could probably concisely tell everybody.
Well, first of all, I love playing all kinds of music. Americana is definitely one that I play a lot, but yeah, I played blues and folk and also sometimes kind of country stuff. And but yeah, I found the blues. I was kind of doing more of the Americana for a while, and then we were listening because my dad really loves Nirvana.
Yeah,
and
this is a story I love.
We were listening to their album where they're just playing acoustic guitars and it's live, the Unplugged album. So we were listening to that, and they played the Leadbelly song, Where'd You Sleep Last Night? Well, it's not his song, it's just like an old folk song.
Made famous by him as well as others, yeah.
But he's known for doing it, so they talked about Leadbelly, and I went back and listened to Leadbelly's version. And even though Leadbelly was more of a folk artist, he played a lot of blues, but he was more of a folk artist. He was he played a lot with the blues crowd, and partly probably because he was black.
Right.
But also, yeah. So that's how I found the blues, going to Leadbelly and finding all
Was
those
it In the
songs.
Pines?
Yeah, In the Pines.
In the Pines. That was the one. Thank you, Jenny Reynolds, for putting that in there. Thank you. Who also has a cool show that you should check out.
Cool.
So, but then, so the easy answer to the question for Adrian is, of course I want to play other genres of music, and I can see myself. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've kind of felt like I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm really, really old, right? And so that means when we came about, it was totally cool to listen to like early Metallica, but it was also totally cool to listen to like Tribe Called Quest, and they all kind of like, it didn't matter if you were into hip hop, it didn't matter if you were into bluegrass. Plus you would pick up a guitar magazine, and the guitar magazine would have, okay, here's the article on classical, here's the article on jazz, here's the article on bluegrass picking, and you're like, I want to do all of it, and I want it all to influence my playing. I can only imagine, at your age with YouTube and everything like that, why would you single out any type of music and go, yeah, I don't really want to play that? It's more just like whatever really hits you, right? Is that how you feel?
Yeah. I just, because I've always loved all kinds of music, and although I haven't learned to play jazz yet, I've listened to a lot of, well, not as much as I have other music, but I've listened to some jazz, and of course I've listened to all types of country and all types of blues, all types of Americana and folk. And it's really cool to just hear everything and just kind of take it all in, I guess.
Yeah. So Peter Blackstock says, no doubt that Nirvana did that song partly because they wanted some of their rock fans to get turned on to blues music. He says it's really cool to see a great example of how it actually worked. I think it would be a good time if you're in the mood to pick a song, and maybe at the middle ground we'll go ahead and play your new video and stuff. And I'm gonna write down some of these other great questions that are coming in. We got a good question coming in from Lonnie Trevino Jr., who was our guest last week. If you feel like playing a song, I think everybody would love it. You want to play something?
Yeah. So,
All right. Anything you want, except for the video we're gonna play. All right, I'm letting you go here, buddy.
Hope y'all can hear my guitar. So, I think I'm gonna play one that me and Plank wrote. And, yeah, this one's really fun to do. It's called I May Not Know. Well, I may not know, nevertheless, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Still, I must confess that a time or ten I've told the tale of wisdom I possess, but that was just a faraway dream. So I guess. Through all the winter's walk and smile, the winter's smile, there was dignity carved in the way. Father was worth while he was moving closer to the edge every minute of every day, till fate showed the road to joy and sending along his way. Well, I may not know, but nevertheless, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Still, I must confess that a time or ten I've told a tale of wisdom I possess, but that was just a faraway dream. So I guess. Nancy was a quiet lass who lived in make-believe. She dreamt of castles of cotton candy and merry fantasies. Her tattered jeans and broken crystals seemed her only friends, but time would come, she'd find someone to see her to the end. Well, I may not know, nevertheless, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Still, I must confess that a time or ten I've told a tale of wisdom I possess, but that was just a faraway dream. So I guess. Tony played the tough guy, had a heart laced in gold. Though he kept the dear things hidden down at the depths of his soul, he never sought out comfort or diamonds in the rough. But all that changed and rearranged when love called his bluff. Well, I may not know, nevertheless, nothing to be ashamed of. Still, I must confess that a time or two I've told a tale of wisdom I possess, but that was just a faraway dream. But that was just a far away dream. But that was just a far away dream. Or so I guess.
I gotta give a little bit of applause because it's hard these days to hear some applause. We can do some emoji applauding if you guys don't mind in the captions in the chat.
Thank you.
So thanks so much for picking the song that you and I wrote together. We've written a couple now because we also wrote that song for the old quarter, which was really fun. I can't wait to write with you again.
Yeah, me neither. We should do that soon.
Yeah, I really love the way you play that song, man. And you know, it was fun when we were writing it because there was almost like no way for me to sing it in the same key as you. So I kind of had to be like, when we were writing that song. And then I've learned how to play it now kind of my own way with mandolin.
Do you do it in E?
Yeah, I do it in E. And it comes out really, really nice as like I don't know why. Randomly, I wanted to try it. Thanks, Kate. I'm saying thanks for those people who don't know because we wrote that song together. But she's telling you thanks. It turned out great on mandolin because all of those kind of jazzy chords for some reason fill out really well on mandolin. But I also really love that you have like a nice chord melody worked out for the bridge part of it. It's pretty cool. Some people asked, and I'm just going to put this up once during the show, that yes, we do this to keep the lights on, so to speak, and we really appreciate it. Anybody who doesn't, you know, if you don't, I'm really, really happy you're here no matter what. So I'm just going to say that once, and then we're going to go. You can find that wherever you need to find that. And thanks again to Austin Music TV for giving us such a great platform for this. But let's get another question and keep Jack's stuff up there. There's a really great question from someone named Tom who said, Tom Martin said, Jeff, thank you so much for turning me on to Jack's music. And that's kind of what we do. And that's another thing that's really, really great about this particular, you know, medium, you know, having like a little bit of a talk show. I know you have a podcast, right?
Yes.
What's your podcast called?
It's just something we started during the quarantine, just so we don't really have anything else to do.
There weren't gigs, right? Same here.
Yeah, so we, 'cause I play a lot of, like, I guess, older style music.
You're an old soul, as they say.
We called it Jack Barksdale's Roots Revival.
Roots Revival, that's right. And then you also have the thing on YouTube channel, which is where I first met you and where we first started hanging out, where you do a thing called Guitar Slingers. And you've had some very, very serious notables, as well as some people that might not be well known, but are really, really, really awesome.
Yeah, that's just so much fun to do.
Like, let's see, who have you had? Recently, didn't you have Zach Wilkerson?
Yes, Zach Wilkerson.
Zach Wilkerson. And, of course, you had Guy's buddy, Verlin.
Yes.
That was amazing.
I love Verlin.
That was a really, really, really great one, too. So all these things are right here. You can find them. I like that I can kind of point to this. It's like smoke and mirrors. Although I had this fancy countdown already for the show today, and the countdown didn't work. So I'm really hoping that your video works in a few minutes. I mentioned that Tom said that, right? If not, we'll make sure that we put it in the chat and stuff so that people can find it. Tom said, thanks a bunch for turning me on to Jack's music. He said, do you find that people don't take you seriously with your age? And that's an interesting question. Do you find that that's been the case so far? I would kind of imagine not, because in Texas, people start at an early age often. Maybe not to as much success as you, but...
Well, I feel like the music community, just in general, everywhere that I've been, it's been super supportive to me, and I've always come, let me play with them at their shows, do a song swap with me, and it's just, they've always been super nice to me, and the audience has been super nice to me and listened to my stuff, and it's just really cool. So I feel like they've been really good to me.
Pretty darn
Everybody
supportive.
has.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I find that I think that part of the reason, Jack, is your personality and frankly also your parents too. One thing I love about your parents is they are super 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 supportive, but they're not show parents. Like they don't super super push you or tell you how to cut your hair. Or
So,
I mean, it sounds like why would anybody do that? But being in the music business or whatever entertainment as long as I have, I've seen it a lot, and it usually makes people burn out at a young age. And
well,
I
my
noticed
parents
that
are pretty awesome.
they're really great and they're super supportive, but they kind of just let you do what you're into.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm going to start a podcast, and they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go play with this guy, and they're like, okay, and they're just perfect for that.
Yeah.
And I really think
they really help me a lot too. Like if I want to go do something, they'll help me do it and find a way for me to do what I want to do. It's really awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really great. Now, somebody's saying Austin's one of the best music towns in the world, but I should say to you guys that Jack's not coming out of Austin. Jack's coming out of Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. And the music community there in Texas and in general is really, really strong as far as people wanting to see people write music and people wanting to see people come up from, something, and I love it. Our good friend Lonnie, who was on last week, Lonnie Trevino Jr., he's got like 6 questions, and I'm going to try and pick which one I like first. This one is a good one. I'm going to do this one because it's a pretty quick one. Do you write with pen and paper, or do you write with a computer?
I have always written because I've started writing from when I was probably like 7. They were terrible. Songs and poems and whatever I wanted to write.
You're so wise to know that.
I didn't have a computer or anything, so I've always just written in notebooks with a pen. I've got a whole drawer just full of notebooks. It's too heavy for me to carry. Yeah. You got to go through them every once in a while. Like I was talking to you about how you every month or so go through and be like, nah. Oh, there's a good one, and stuff like that. And what a great feeling that is to kind of go back. Whether it's like your notepad where you just write something down on your phone so you don't forget it, or a napkin or something like that, and you put it in your pocket and you get it later. It's such a great feeling when you find something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Jessica Forsyth says, save those notebooks. You are absolutely right about that. Well, before we get too far into it, I really, really do want to see if I have this video queued up. Okay, so Friends and Strangers, which a bunch of people have asked about, and maybe after the song I'll ask you a couple of questions about it, but you wrote it with Corby Lenker. You recorded it kind of via the interwebs, and all that kind of stuff in remote places with Will Kimbrough, who maybe, I don't know anybody, if you do what we do, Will Kimbrough. But I want to see if I can go ahead and play this video for everybody, and you also want to go and it can be found. I'm sure that we'll put the link in the chat for everybody to see as well, at least on Facebook. I'll try and get it everywhere. And let's check this out right now, and then we'll talk a little bit about it afterwards. Cool.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Cross your fingers, because like I said, the countdown didn't work. Here we go.
There are 2 kinds of people, friends and strangers. Friends stay by your side through the bad times and the dangers, but the strangers, they just walk on by. Friends and strangers, strangers and
If I had my way, all strangers would be friends in the end.
Where are you headed? Where have you been? We could talk about the weather or what you did last weekend. We could talk about anything at all. Friends and strangers, strangers and friends. If I had my way, all strangers would be friends in the old friends, new friends, friends just the same. But strangers can never stay strangers. So what's your name? When I feel a little lonesome, when I feel a little blue, when I need a little comfort, I just think about you. 'Cause a friend's a friend even when they're not around. Friends and strangers, strangers and friends. If I had my way, all strangers would be friends in the end. If I had my way, all strangers would be friends in the end.
That was awesome.
And I saw Peter ask, I wonder if those are birds or bats. They're birds, but they do kind of look like those Austin bats that go under the bridge.
You know that term for when the birds do this whole thing? Murmuration? Yeah, it's called a murmuration, and it's one of my wife's favorite things ever. And when we see, you know, when we see a murmuration, we'll stop because she digs it, and we don't see it that much up here on Vancouver Island. We see it once in a while.
Yeah.
It seems like sometimes when I don't really know anything behind it or anything, but big field like that, it's a really, really great place to see a murmuration. I just love that. Man, what a beautiful song. So some people have asked some questions. First of all, Lonnie said, Lonnie actually said last week on the show that was his favorite song of 2020. And he really, really, really loves that song, and I do
Thank
too. So Will Kimbrough, you guys might know from years of playing alongside people like Rodney Crowell, but you might know him from producing great albums for like Todd Snyder, really great producer of all kinds of different music.
I love Will. I love his music too. He's a great.
I love his own music too. He's one of those producers that also creates really gorgeous stuff.
Yeah.
I think he just knew exactly what to do with that song. Did you and Corby talk much with him about the production, or did you just kind of let it go?
Well, I think, we recorded it and we sent him the song, and he sent it back, and we made a few adjustments, but there really wasn't much to adjust.
Yeah.
He did a great job.
I can tell by the tone of your voice you were happy with what he sent back.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I just love how he can make everything sound. So
the overall.
Yeah, it was really cool to see.
Well, when people come and see your
work out.
Yeah, excuse me. I have to apologize. I always forget to apologize. Sometimes in this medium, I'll interrupt my guest a ton. It's been pretty decent this week, but with the interwebs and all that kind of stuff, sometimes I jump on you, so I apologize in advance. I think that those who have seen your live show, you are boot stomping and fast picking and groovy, and you've got time, and it's a thing. You kind of hit them over the head right when you come out most of the time. And you also kind of end on a big bang. So I don't know. Maybe if we play one more song, maybe you can do something a little jammy, but or with some of that kind of pocket and fast. But I think it really says a lot about your musicianship, at any age, that you vary it, and that both of the songs that you played today, the one we wrote, and then Friends and Strangers, are a lot more subdued. And, to be able to fast pick is cool and kind of grabs attention, but to be able to play the notes between the notes and to really, really get into songwriting is something that kind of attracts the attention of more of the not just the old souls, but a lot of the pickers. Because we're all kind of like, yeah, you can play fast, but can you do this? And it's like, well, nope, Jack's already got all that covered. So it's kudos to you on the fact that. And maybe when we have you do one more song, if you feel like it, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Let's see, what are some of the other ones? Ron wants to know when both of us are coming back to the Hill Country because lots of venues are open. And my answer to that is always, for me, when the Canada border opens again, I will consider it. And two, if I feel in any way that either the people in the audience or the people on stage or anybody I play with is in any unnecessary danger, I'm going to say no. But I did a show this weekend where everybody was in pods, and everybody kind of came, and it was an outdoor show. They were far enough back from me because, you don't want to be too close. If I yell or scream, I'm going to spit a projectile at you. So I don't know about, but you're out there playing a few gigs too. Are you feeling safe about doing it?
Yeah, because when we're doing it, it's all going to be controlled and everything.
Socially distant.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, is that if people are taking care of each other and looking, it's just too important right now, right? Mm-hmm. To bring this thing down in the States. Bruce Payne says, Jack is amazing. Hey, sidekick. Randy Dees asks, does Jack play with a band?
Well, I don't often play with a band, but sometimes
You've sat in with some great bands.
Yeah, and but whenever I do gather up some cool musicians that I wanna play with, it ends up being pretty fun. So
yeah,
I'd like to do it more often, but playing solo is always very fun to me as well.
Super fulfilling. Mm-hmm. Two things I can say are that just about everybody that I came up with, whether it was a Ray Wiley or a Ruthie Foster or even a Bob Schneider, they would have different setups for different gigs. And Ray Wiley used to always joke, and he'll be a guest next month, like I said. He used to always joke, Jeff, you get the gig and then you get the band. And the idea was, if somebody called and they had X amount of money, or they had a big stage, or they were a big club, or if there were other bands on the bill, then he would decide, and then he would call the right players. Uh-huh. Whereas if he was playing, a theater, maybe he might just do it with Lucas, or maybe back then he would do it with me, and we'd go do a duo or a house concert in a backyard or something, because back then that's what he did. And I still take that as, for people who are songwriters, and isn't it fun that we can do that? Like, we can just call cats up who can play, and whoever they are, just say, "Yep, show's at 8, see you at 7,"
Or
and then they play.
you could even call up another songwriter and just
a swap,
do a song swap.
and play with each other and play off each other.
Yeah.
See, it's a lot more fun to do it with somebody like you, because Michael O'Connor and I talk sometimes about how when we get asked, and I know when you get asked, I bet, it's kind of like the songwriters that don't pick, that don't play solos, they will sometimes, like, I'll be playing a song and they'll get on their phone. And it's like, hey man, like, I'm playing here and I just played on your song. They'll be like, take a solo, Jeff. And I'll be like, okay. And then I'll play my song and I'll have to play by myself while they're not paying attention. And, so I'll have to grab their attention even harder, but if you go with people who, and they don't have to be anybody flashy. Like, I just love pickers who are engaged somehow in the song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they don't have to be taking some crazy solo, but if they're engaged in the music, then it becomes like this cool conversation, right? And I love that side of it as well. And you're absolutely right. A song swap can be really great too.
Yeah, and song swaps are also cool because when you're doing it with the other person, they're playing their song, you have the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
So
See, now that's a great way to put it, man.
That's another perk of the song swap.
Of doing a good song swap. You get the best thing. So we'll come back to the hill country, not only when it's safe, but when people are taking it seriously. For myself, borders still closed, so I'm stuck here for a bit, but it really...
I'd love to go to the hill country.
Yeah. It's
Just
bred, songwriting is bred around there, like it just seems like a really, really, really big thing. So, let's get a couple more of these questions in. Let's see. That was a good one from Adrian. We got this one from Kelly. Did we get both of these? Yep, we got that one. We got that one from Lonnie. Well, we're doing pretty well here. Kelly asks what instrument... Well, she's got a couple of questions. Let's do both of them because they're both really good questions. She says, your lyrics seem more mature than your years. What inspires you to write? And do you get input from others? And I know a little bit about your answer here, but how would you like to say it? Like, what inspires you to write? And do you get a lot of input from others?
Well, I guess what inspires me to write usually is listening to other songwriters. Usually someone like Townes Van Zandt. Or
right.
Recently, it's been Leonard Cohen. Is one that I found recently. But,
now, what's your favorite Leonard song right now? What's the first one that pops in your head?
Probably Story of Isaac, which is
Ooh, yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. Yeah, I was always kind of into the dark stuff, like everybody knows. And funny story about Hallelujah. In one of his interviews, somebody asked about Hallelujah and how so many people have recorded it, and he said, I have other songs.
That's funny.
It is kind of funny. Christy Harrington says, do you like to fish and skip rocks? Do you have a dog? If so, what kind? And I already know the answer to the second question, but do you like to fish and skip rocks? I don't know.
I like to do both of those things, actually.
Yeah? Yeah? Where do you fish? What kind of fishing do you do?
Whenever I can.
Just lake stuff, or?
I'll get my dad, and we'll go wherever we can, like somewhere near the house, or sometimes we'll go with friends, because they have a lake. Yeah.
I don't get to fish enough, but I don't know about you. I'm sorry I did that interrupt thing. We don't get to fish enough, but if you're anything like me, that's one of the rare places that quiets the mind. Like fishing is a good place to like have a conversation with a bud or your dad or something like that, but it's really calming. Like all the music in my head kind of slows down a little bit, and the yapper in my head that I have to think about this or that. Fishing is really, really good for, which we need.
Yeah, well, I haven't really done it that much. It's just I like it when I get to.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel too.
Mm-hmm.
Christy Harrington says, "Heck yeah, we have a beautiful lake and a river for both." She really
And,
wants you to come play her porch.
Yeah, and I do not have any dogs. I'm pretty much allergic to the hair.
Yeah, but you
I
love
mean,
them.
if it's like a not very hairy dog, I can pet them, and But if it's like a really hairy dog that sheds a lot, yeah, I can't pet them too much.
Well, let's try and get you to just play one more. It doesn't have to be a long one or anything. I want to get it in before the end. And also, just so everybody knows, once we go off the air on Austin Music TV, we will stay on the web and make sure we get all the questions answered that we can. We'll stay on an extra 10 minutes or whatever. But I really want to make sure you get one more song in. And I forgot to put this up, so I'll put that back while you do it. Would you like to play something a little bit more, I'm not going to tell you what to play, because you play whatever you want. But most people who come and see you, they hear the foot stomper first, so up to you.
Yeah.
All right, here comes Jack Barksdale, everybody. You go ahead and intro it. Oh, you got to retune?
Yeah. Well,
For those following along, what tuning you going to?
I'm going to an open G, just
We love open G.
Yeah, just D, G, D, G, B, D.
All right, everybody, Jack Barksdale here.
Although I really like songwriting, I just love to play guitar and I love slide, and it's just a really fun thing to do. So this is an instrumental that I made up called Nile City Blues.
That's Jack, everybody. See what I'm talking about? That's the thing, I mean, it's so funny because... Oh, did it cut out a little? Oh, I didn't see... I didn't.
Doing it.
Oh, on mine it was
It's
working
still doing
okay.
it a bit.
Checking 1, 2. Checking 1, 2. Still cutting out?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the interwebs, but...
It is here.
Oh, I hope everybody can hear okay. We were getting a whole bunch of emoji claps and stuff from everybody.
There we go.
Yeah, maybe it just needed a second to come back in when I came back. That was great, and that's what I'm talking about. It's funny because most, cats would be like, oh, fast playing, whatever, fast playing's cool, fast playing's cool. But they'd be so interested that you're writing songs and that you can play slow and you can play beautifully and you can use all these changes. But really, both is great, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes for a really interesting show. Your show already at your age has a whole lot of peaks and we're getting close. Peaks and valleys. When you hear Cabbage Alley by the Meters, that means we're almost done with the show, at least from TV. I use Cabbage Alley by the Meters. Lots of stuff people here say. Heard it here. Awesome. Claps, claps. Excellent, Jack. Great guitar playing. Still listening to your CDs that I bought from you, from Sean. All sorts of people.
Awesome.
Ooh, Roger Burris has a nice one for you. Jack, you need to get a Maltese. They are very good for folks that have allergies.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Maybe you check into
Yeah.
it. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says that it still sounds good on their end, so that must have just been between
cool.
you and I and the interwebs.
Well, it's a long way away.
Yeah, it is. And you know what's funny is, you know, because we live in this like one bedroom here. This was like our summer place that we went up to, and then we're stuck behind the border now. And so my poor wife, oh my poor wife, you know, just being in basically a studio apartment with a loud guy. Hi, Ann Arbor, Michigan. Glad you're here. I had to get a 40-foot Ethernet cable, and I like string it all the way apartment to get it over to the router to make sure that we can do this. This is the high-tech professional show that everybody waits for every week. You know, the 20 Question Tuesdays. Jack, it's really awesome having you, and I wanted to mention this right here because this is where you go to where everything can be found. And whether it's the podcast, whether it's how to find new music, whether it's the videos, of which, like that beautiful video with the murmurations for friends and strangers. All right, what else do we got here? A couple more chats before the end. Dobermans are good too. Short hair, great dogs. I have bad dog allergies too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
you
and
never
then
know.
there's also like poodles because they don't shed.
Poodles don't shed as much, right?
Well, I don't
Yep.
think they shed at all, really.
Oh, really? At all?
You have to shave. You have to shave them down.
Woo-hoo! Well, I think that's a good idea for sure. Okay, well, I want to make sure I do one more thing and turn off this alarm before it goes off again. The classy show that I have. I want to thank Austin Music TV and Sheila Steele, of course. And thanks for everybody who's getting on. We're going to stay online for a couple of minutes and make sure we answer the rest of the questions for everybody. Thanks for those who helped out the show with this. And we really appreciate that as well. That's super cool. And thanks for Jack on 20 Question Tuesdays. Sometimes
and
if I...
thank you, Jeff, for having me.
Oh, you kidding, Jack? I love it. I can't wait for us to write another song too. And I know
neither.
you've been really busy, and I know I've been really busy, and we're lucky right now. I want to tell everybody on TV out there to stay safe, to be good to your people, to wear your mask, to stay socially distant. Do what you can to take care of each other. It's very, very important to us. Jack, we're got maybe a minute and a half left. Do you want to just like play a little bit of nice guitar for everybody, and then I'll just give you a hand signal when we're just on the web? You know, just play a little
Sure.
background music for me? Because I just love to hear you
Sure.
just sit and pick. That's something that I love doing with you. Everybody, Jack Barksdale, he's going to just play us out until we're off the air. He says, Christy Harrington says, hey kiddo, don't ever change or lose heart. Tom Martin says, just subscribe to Jack's YouTube channel. There we go. Thank you guys. And Jack's just going to play a little bit once he gets back into standard.
There we go.
Sounds great. Perfect. Thanks, buddy. I could listen to you do this all day. Yeah. Perfect. Thanks for taking us out there, Jack. Okay, we're going to stay online. I know we're off the air. So once again, thanks for everybody who keeps the show going with this good stuff. Let's make sure that we answered all the questions we could. Thanks to everybody watching on Twitter, Twitch, my new Twitch channel, which is cool. I didn't know. Pretty hip, though. And then, let's see, YouTube and, of course, Facebook. Make sure, now that we're off the air, we can say go to this and go to that. We can do call to action now. So I want you very, very much, it would mean a lot to me if you went to jackbarksdale.com. And I'd love it if you watched his new videos, all the videos, not just the new one, which is really, really great. But you could subscribe, and you can subscribe to Jack's podcast, and you can get on Guitar Slingers. It's awesome, really, really good stuff. Also want to mention, because I always forget, I actually have a show tonight, and I always forget to plug my own stuff. For those who know, I do 2 sessions every month on Patreon. That's good stuff there. And then tonight, episode 20 of From Here to There on all of the things again. But before we say that, let's make sure that we have all of the questions. Yes! Randy wanted to know who's your biggest influence, and I think you kind of mentioned that a little bit. It's tough to say one person, right? It's kind of tough to say one person. Are you frozen, Jack? Uh-oh. Jack might be frozen. Uh-oh. Does everybody else see Jack? Oh, we lost him. Let's see if he comes right back. I'll check with his dad. Hang on, everybody. It happens. Let's make sure, see if we can get him back. Okay, there's some links. People are putting up links to podcasts. He can call back. Maybe he's got to go. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing to his stuff. There's his podcast info. Thank you there. Let's see if I can put that in. Nope. To the other streams and such. Well, we might have lost them. Well, it's been a really, really great show, everyone, and we appreciate all of you. Next week, Pat Byrne is going to be our guest. Oh, Claire's trying to get back on. Okay, so we're going to wait a second and see if we can get them back on real quick. We'll wait. Make sure we got all these questions. Jack was going to do the best some influences. You guys don't mind waiting a couple minutes to get some more questions out of Jack, do you? We will wait. There he is. He's back.
There we go.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right, so let me get rid of this.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fantastic.
Cool.
What we're going to do is answer a couple more questions.
Mm-hmm.
One was Jack's, from Randy. He says, what's your biggest influence? That's a tough question.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy for me because I actually do have one. It's Stevie Wonder. But do you have a couple? You could probably mention a few, especially things you're listening to right now. You did mention Leonard Cohen was a big one right now, and Townes Van Zandt.
Yeah. Well, I feel like probably Townes Van Zandt has been the biggest in my music.
Yeah.
But as far as like, I got really into Johnny Cash for a while.
Really?
For like 2 or 3 years, whenever we went into a record store, I'd come out with like three more Johnny Cash records.
Yeah.
And sometimes a CD. And so,
Do you spend time learning the music of your heroes? I know at your age, I was really, really into learning as many songs as I could, even if I wasn't going to play them out.
yeah,
Sometimes I just wanted to learn them. I still do, even if I'm
Yeah,
not going to
well-
play it out.
yeah, I've been doing a lot of that, especially with Townes. haven't learned a Leonard Cohen song yet for some reason, but
Well, they're long. They're longer than Dylan songs.
yeah,
You know, there's
And,
always 17 verses.
yeah, but probably Townes Van Zandt or Johnny Cash, because again I was into Johnny Cash for like 3 years, and just trying to soak up everything I could about Johnny Cash and Highwaymen and anything I could. I've actually got a whole Johnny Cash wall of pictures there.
Oh, it's all Johnny Cash on the wall.
And that gray bear there is named Johnny Cash.
Nice. And the other one?
That one's my sister's, and she didn't name it. Didn't really feel like it, I guess.
I had a bear that was a big bear when I was a kid that I was given, and it was given to me when it was bigger than me. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't that creative. I called him Big Bear.
Yeah.
Because he was bigger than me when I got him, you know?
I think my sister had it definitely wasn't as big as those bears, but it was pretty big, and she called it Barry.
Oh, Barry. Barry's good. Barry's a good name. I like it. Hey, Kelly Hayes says, and I forgot about this one, so thanks, Kelly. I got your other one, but I didn't get this one. What instrument do you use when you write, most of the time, when you write your melodies? Or do you just sing them? Or do you play the melody and figure it out? Or how does that work? Or does it change from song to song? I know for me it changes a lot.
Well, I write on my guitar always. Sometimes, I mean, I play all kinds of instruments because I love the different sounds. And, I've been playing around on the keyboard. I'm not very good at it, but it's fun to play. Mandolin, I like playing mandolin. Ukulele, sometimes it's pretty fun. And let's see, harmonica, I like playing harmonica.
You're starting to do a little bit of rack harmonica now, right? You putting it on the rack sometimes?
Yeah, because that's pretty much why I learned harmonica, so I could put it on the rack. So once I started learning the blues and then the major scale, I started putting it on the rack. I've been doing that for a while now. It's really fun.
Christy Harrington asks, do you prefer acoustic or electric guitar?
Well, probably acoustic, because, acoustic.
A little more easy to dig in. And
well, it's just I've always played acoustic. I've always loved acoustic, and it just has a beautiful sound.
Sure does when you play it, man. You know, one thing I wanted to mention real quick is that of all the instruments that I play over the years, and I'm a fake it till you make it kind of smoke and mirrors guy, you know, do you play that? Oh, sure. And then I go get one. And then, which has happened a couple of times, so that I could get a session gig. But one thing I never learned how to do was play harp, and I have plenty of I got all the harmonicas, every key, to be ready if somebody calls, but I don't know how to do it on the rack. And I have to say, it's going to be great to have that texture. I think you're going to be really happy that you can break it up and have something different. Mm-hmm. You know, just using it sparingly and having just one more texture for a solo or a little break or even just a few notes in between things. Mm-hmm. Man, it just adds a lot to shows. When I see anybody who knows how to use a rack, you know, you may know the music of Jimmy Reed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is some amazing. It does not sound like he's playing on a rack.
And how does he do it while he's playing?
The bending?
While he's doing everything on guitar, too. Because what I can never get is I can't play lead on the guitar and play lead on the harmonica at the same time.
But Jimmy could. Now, Jimmy had another guitar player with him that took care of a lot of the other stuff. Mm-hmm. His name escapes me. Mm-hmm. But he took care of a lot, and Jimmy was playing a lot of rhythm, but the fact that he could bend notes on the harp.
Yeah,
so
bending notes is just, it's fun when you finally learn. It's like, that's how you do that? That's how you do that?
You finally get the pressure and you figure it out, and you're like, I can do it, I can bend a note. Mm-hmm. But it's way easier in your hands than it is on the rack, in my opinion.
And it's weird, because you have to do this weird thing in your mouth. It's like...
Yep. you change the way the airflow kind of works and
you
stuff.
look like a fish.
Yeah, you look goofy, but you got to just go with it. That's exactly right. There was another question I really, really liked. Oh, Steve, my friend Steve, and thank you for the tip, Steve. We appreciate that. Yours came in early. And thanks for everybody who tips, too. And now that we're off, I can say this, too. I like to split the tips with my guest and keep the show going and stuff, but I also know that it's tough out there for a lot of people right now. Please don't feel you have to. Sometimes I get a tip from... Look, if you put $5 in right now of your hard-earned money, we really appreciate it. But don't feel like you have to... because I know it's tough out there right now. Those of you who have good jobs and are not unemployed because of the COVID, we appreciate it. But don't worry about it. So, Steve, thanks for that. And this is a great question. It might be a good one for us to end on. If you want to become a good singer-songwriter, do you think it's more important to be a better guitarist or a better poet? I love that question for a lot of reasons. But let me get your answer.
I feel like they're both equally as important. But if you want to be a good songwriter, you should probably be at least even if you're really good at guitar, be as good as you are at guitar as being a poet.
I couldn't have said it any better.
I don't feel like any one is more important than the other. They both work together to just make it sound better.
Yep, I think so too. I don't think I could have said that any better. Being a good guitar player sometimes, or just being a good, solid accompanist, is really, really important. It doesn't mean you have to be flashy. It just means you have to be solid, you know? And the same thing I think is true with words. Having a big vocabulary doesn't mean you have more to say, whether you're talking about guitar or words. It just means you know more words. I might know some fancy chords, but if I don't know how to make them fit the laws of music, then who cares? You know? And we can all kind of hear a song where we're like, did they really need to use that many chords? And then we can also hear songs where we go, yeah, they did really need to use that many chords, and it works. But it's true that you are wise beyond your years, my friend, and I'm really thankful that you did this. Is there anything else you want to tell people about besides going to, let me do it again, your website? Going to your website, that's pretty much your good hub, which is where everything is that they need to find, whether it be booking, whether it be your videos, your podcast, your original music. Good spot right there.
Yeah, you can find the links to everything there, and to all the social medias, and
right,
and Spotify and iTunes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't thank you enough, and stay on with me, Jack.
Thank
you. You're very, very welcome. To everybody watching, next week we have Pat Byrne, and it's going to be great talking to the Irishman, and I had another great week, and thank you all for continuing to let me have the opportunity to do this with people like Jack. It's really beautiful. All right, well, I'm going to take us offline. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Austin Music TV, and thanks, everybody, on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube. Y'all have a really, really beautiful day, and take care of each other out there. Bye-bye.